We have so much to talk about in today's recap. Ronald Acuna Jr. got called out by the Phillies manager, and Ronald, he made sure to rub this latest W in Phillies' face. Blake Snell, he all but wrapped up the Cy Young Award, but hey, not too fast. Justin Steele, he's pitching later today. The former Cy Young Award winner, Mad Max Scherzer, he is probably going to miss the remainder of 2023, and Chris Bryant, he had another big night versus his former team, the Chicago Cubs. And one more thing, make sure to use code Fuzzy on Underdog Fantasy. Right now, they are running a Jalen Hurts pick'em. All he needs is one single yard. It's basically free money. All you have to do is click that link in the description down below. It is available for anyone who has not signed up to Underdog Fantasy, so don't miss out on free money. And they'll even match your deposit up to $100. So yeah, take advantage if you have not signed up. Click that link, and I'll see you guys over there. Now, the first game of the day, the Guardians and the Giants. J-Ram is having another J-Ram season. He's got 62 extra base hits, 24 stolen bases. Josh Naylor, he's so sick. He has 88 RBIs despite missing 20-plus games. Rookie Logan T. Allen, he pitched another gem. But if it sounds like there's a bit of passive aggressiveness in my voice, it's because there is. Cleveland's bullpen sucked again and blew another game. Wilmer, he made it a 3-run game, which is exactly how many runs scored on that J.D. Davis home run. Cleveland's bullpen has an awful 4.8 ERA in the second half. Lamont Wade Jr., he walks it off, and the Giants, they pick up a huge win. It's huge because if Arizona loses this game to the Mets, San Francisco, they'll be back to just a half game of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the wild card race. Zach Gallen, he was not Zach Gallen yesterday, and that cost Arizona big time. Pete Alonso, he drove in 3 RBIs, one in the first and then 2 more on a double in the 5th inning, all while Joey LaCasey, he looked like prime Johan Santana out there. We'll show him in a second because this kid, he's got some juice in his bat. Mark Vientos, he did not miss that one. He's a strikeout machine, but when he does make contact, watch out. And like I mentioned, Joey LaCasey, he dominated all night long. He went 7 shutout on just 5 base hits. He has a 2.8 ERA in his first 7 starts this year. So shout out to Joey LaCasey as the Mets beat the Diamondbacks 7-1. So with that Arizona loss, the Giants are in fact back at a half game back for the wild card spot. Now let's see if the Reds can win this next game, because if they do, they're back in the playoffs. TJ Friedl, he legged out a 2-run triple, so Cincinnati is off to a hot start. But speaking of hot, Spencer Torkelson has been exactly that since the beginning of June. Over his last 85-ish games, Torkelson has 18 doubles, 24 home runs, and 41 walks with a very impressive 840 OPS. He has 28 home runs on the season. Good for him. Now the Tigers immediately folded and allowed Cincinnati to reclaim the lead. There was one on an RBI groundout and another on that. Noelvi Marte, he scored on a throw down to second. They get the out, but a run scores. The bad man Akil Baddoo, he tried to rally the troops with an RBI double, but it wasn't enough. Alexis Diaz, look at his stats. He has 36 saves on the season, and over his first 2 seasons, he has a 1.99 ERA and an almost 12 strikeouts per 9 with 46 saves over 2 seasons. He's disgusting. Now we got to find the Marlins game and see if they could keep up, because they were tied with the Giants, so if they lose, they'll be a game behind the Giants in the NL wildcard race. Tip of the cap to Braxton Garrett, who saved his best stuff for this game. He carved up Milwaukee for 4 shutout, and he finally got some run support on an Xavier Edwards single in the 5th inning. Braxton Garrett, he went out and shoved for 2 more shutout innings, so he went 6 shutout frames, 7 punchies, only 4 base hits allowed. Garrett Hampson, he doubled in 1 more, but Miami didn't even need it because the bullpen, they were disgusting. 3 shutout innings to end it. Tanner Scott, he earned his 9th save, so ever since the Marlins replaced David Robertson as their closer with Tanner Scott, they've been winning a lot more. The Reds, they've won 3 in a row. The Diamondbacks have lost 2 in a row, so the Reds and the Diamondbacks are now tied for that final wildcard spot, and you have the Giants and the Marlins still tied at a half game back. So the NL wildcard is complete mayhem. Another team that is in the NL wildcard race, the Cubs, they unfortunately just can't ever seem to take advantage of the Brewers losing. They got beat up by the Rockies. They had a 3-0 lead after 3, but the 4th is where Colorado started to see beach balls. Ezekiel Tovar had an RBI single, and then friend of the channel, Nolan Jones, he's becoming a superstar. He went 452 feet the other way. Like, he didn't pull that. He went the other way. I know it's Coors Field, but 450 the other way is just insane. He has 16 home runs and a near 125 OPS plus. I'm really happy that Cleveland traded him. Just such a good idea. Elias Montero smoked a 2-run home run. KB sent one out as well. That's back-to-back games with the home run versus his former team. In the last 2 games, he scored 5 times and drove in 4 RBIs. Ryan McMahon, he's got 23 home runs and 17 defensive run saves. The Cubs, they're 4 games back of first place, but they're still 2.5 games ahead of Arizona and San Francisco. All right, shifting gears to the AL wildcard, the Jays are officially 1 game back of having a spot. Well, we have some breaking news. Chaim Bloom just got fired. So I guess we'll talk about the AL wildcard and that Rangers game in just a second. But Chaim Bloom, yeah, he has been fired as the GM or like head of baseball operations with the Boston Red Sox. He's most notably known for trading future Hall of Famer Mookie Betts. But I'm not going to lie, the Red Sox kind of failed Chaim Bloom after that. They have cut payroll. They haven't really built anything around him. Chaim Bloom actually did a pretty impressive job at riding the ship in 2023. The Jarren Duran injury wasn't the best. And then Kenley Jansen imploding over the last 2 weeks really did Chaim Bloom in because the Red Sox have been scuffling. But not gonna lie, I think that Masataka Yoshida, that was a hit. Letting Xander Bogaerts go, I mean, I guess that was a good and bad thing because they botched the negotiations. Then again, he has not been worth his contract this year. So yeah, Masataka Yoshida, Jarren Duran breaking out, Tristan Casas breaking out. He has done a great job at building up the farm system. I don't think that he did a terrible job recently. Honestly, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I think the Red Sox spending less has really hurt him as well. But yeah, Chaim Bloom, his era in Boston is officially over. And of course, he's going to be known as the guy who traded Mookie Betts. I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, now we can talk about the AL wild card and the Rangers facing off against the Blue Jays. Texas, they had a rough start over the last month or so, but they're back in business. And Toronto, they had to deal with that. Jonah Heim, he singled in Corey Seager, and then Nathaniel Lowe, he popped off for a long 3-run home run. He has 16 home runs, 77 RBIs, and a 121 OPS plus. His brother, Tampa Bay outfielder Josh Lowe, pretty much matched him. He has 18 home runs, 75 RBIs, and a 123 OPS plus. Who's the better brother? Let me know in the comments. Robbie Grossman, another 2-run home run off a lefty. Rookie Evan Carter, he knocked in another RBI for Jordan Montgomery. He shut out the Blue Jays over 7 innings. I mean, Jordan Montgomery has been the biggest pickup for actually Max Scherzer was, but we'll talk about Max Scherzer in a second. But Monty, he's been incredible. Look at Mitch Garver go. His 3-run moonshot made it double digits for the Rangers, who have now won 5 in a row. I wanted to talk about the good news first because now we have to talk about some bad news from the Texas camp. Max Scherzer is likely to miss the rest of the season with a strained teres major muscle that is basically right below your armpit. That does not sound fun at all. That actually sounds pretty painful if you're throwing baseballs. The Rangers have had to overcome a lot. They lost Jacob deGrom. Jonah Heim was out for a few weeks, and now Max Scherzer's gone for the rest of the year. The Mariners, they don't mind that because J-Rod, he doubled the tide against the Angels, and there's another game-tying base hit, this time from Cal Raleigh. Every time the Halo scored, Seattle, they would answer. But after that go-ahead RBI single from Teoscar Hernandez, the Angels, they did not have an answer for Seattle. Luis Castillo, he struck out 8 over 6. He allowed just 3 base hits all afternoon. The Mariners bullpen, they went 3 shutout with 6 strikeouts to end this thing. Andres Munoz, he's been pretty good in the replacement of Paul Sewald. He has 13 saves. So what does this mean? The Rangers and the Mariners wins means that the Blue Jays are now a full game back in the AL wildcard. They're out of the playoffs at this moment. Things could get even spicier if Houston loses this game to the Oakland Athletics. That would mean a sweep and a loss of first place. Texas, they're 1 game back now, so it's a must-win game for the Astros. And as you saw, Jordan, he went full Thanos on that baseball, 117 miles an hour on that 3-run laser beam. That is the hardest hit home run by Jordan in the StatCast era. Bregman, he quietly has 23 home runs, 94 RBIs, and a near 125 OPS plus. Rookie Hunter Brown, he took out all of his anger on the A's. He's been roughed up lately. He went 5 no-hit innings with 7 punch-outs. He's nasty. He has 191 strikeouts over his first 166 innings in the big leagues. Kyle Tucker, he's so good. 27 home runs. The no-hitter was intact until the 9th, and it's gone. Ryan Noda, he ended it, and he actually ended up scoring 2 scored off of Ryan Presley. Ryan Presley has a 3.5 ERA. His strikeouts are down. The hits and home runs are up. Brian Abreu, in my opinion, he should be looked at as the closing pitcher going into the playoffs because Presley, he's not been very good this year. The Astros stay 1 game ahead for first place and staying with teams vying for a first place spot. Tampa Bay is trying to reclaim what was theirs for the first few weeks of the season. Tampa Bay, again, they were in first for months until Baltimore hit all the right buttons and Tampa Bay hit a snag. Yandy Diaz, he had a 2-run double. He fouled a ball off of his cup and his marbles in the game before. He had to leave that game, but he was back, so I'm happy that it wasn't anything serious. Curtis Mead doubled in thanks to Max Kepler. He probably should have caught that baseball. It was clutch, though, because Minnesota, they had enough of Tampa Bay bullying them. Matt Wallner, he peppered that one for his 12th home run. Kyle Farmer has 10 home runs, and now it's all tied up. Max Kepler, he made up for not catching that Curtis Mead double. He legged out a massive 2-run triple in the 5th inning. Now, the score stayed even until that mother fudger Randy Arozarena hit one of the furthest home runs of his entire existence, 450 feet, goodness gracious. Tampa Bay barely nudges past the Minnesota Twins, and Rays fans, they really need the Cardinals to win their series. series. Wait, Cardinals win their series? They're playing the Orioles. St. Louis, honestly, they seem to play better versus good teams, or at least lately. Richie Palacios, another home run. Another former Cleveland outfielder breaking out in 2023. He had 0 home runs and 10 RBIs in 54 games last year as a Guardian. He has 4 home runs and 9 RBIs the last week as a Cardinal. That was it for both teams. Rookie and former Baltimore starting pitcher Drew Rom, he turned in his best ever start. Naturally, he's facing his former team, so he goes 7 strikeouts over 5 1/3 shutout. He allowed just 2 base hits. Gibson, he's going to take the tough L as St. Louis's bullpen shut it all the way down. Only 1 base hit allowed over the final 4-ish innings. Ryan Helsley, he's back to throwing darts out the pen. 2 strikeouts, he has 10 saves. He has a 1.69 ERA and a 12.7 strikeouts per 9 since last year. Ryan Helsley is that guy. So Tampa Bay gains a game on the Orioles. They're now just 2 games back of first place, and Baltimore, they know the Rays can flip the standings, and they called in reinforcements. Heston Kjerstad is finally getting called up. He's going to be replacing the injured Ryan Mountcastle. Heston was the 2nd overall pick back in 2020. He had to battle myocarditis, an issue that causes heart irregularities. He then basically tore his hamstring. He missed a ton of time with that, but he's healthy in 2023. In the minors this year, he's hitting .303 with 29 doubles and 21 home runs. The Orioles, again, they had to do this because Mountcastle has a shoulder injury. I believe in Heston Kjerstad. He's going to be legit. So we just talked about the Rays going for first place, and speaking of first place, the Braves, they can clinch first place and the playoffs with a dub over the Phillies. Tempers kind of flared, but we'll talk about that after the game because Austin Riley hit a baseball to Mustafar. I don't know how far that baseball was hit. Okay, it was actually 450 feet. He brought home Ronald. Austin Riley had 33 home runs in 2021, 38 last year, and 35 this year with a bunch of games to go. He just turned 26 years old. Kevin Pillar drove in the game's final run in Philly. They did a bad thing. They let Spencer cook. Spencer Strider won his 17th game. He held the Phillies to 1 run and 4 hits over 7 innings. He struck out 9. He has 461 strikeouts in his first 303 innings. That is mythical. It doesn't sound real. Kirby Yates, he saves the game, so the Braves do in fact clinch first place. Now after the game, Ronald, he was really rubbing it in Philly's face, and he was waving and mocking Philly fans. This kind of stemmed from the Phillies manager calling out Ronald after his latest home run. The manager of the Phillies, I think his name is Rob Thompson. If I got that wrong, please let me know. But he said he prefers to have guys that act like they've been there before. So he was basically saying that Ronald, he was showboating, and he likes his guys to be more mature. Relief pitcher Tyler Matzik, he had Ronald's back. He basically said to shut up and let everyone enjoy it. And then Ronald, he used that quote on Instagram. So the Braves and the Phillies, a nice little rivalry brewing. The Padres flexed their all-time talent in this one. You might be asking, Fuzzy, all-time talent, the Padres in 2023, what are you talking about? They suck. Well, that's not hyperbole or me mocking them. I genuinely think on paper, they had one of the best rosters I had ever seen. Juan Soto, he's got 30 home runs and a 150 OPS plus. He made history on that swing. He is one of 6 players ever with multiple seasons with 30 home runs and 100 or more walks before turning 25 years old. Every other player is in the Hall of Fame. Luis Campusano, he is having a legit breakout second half. After that 3-run home run, he's hitting .320 with 22 RBIs over his last 29 starts. Enter Blake Snell. He basically shoved the Dodgers in a locker, and he all but won the Cy Young. Now, Justin Steele, he's going later today, so Steele is technically still in it, but check out these stats. Blake Snell, he allowed 1 base hit with 8 strikeouts. He shut out the Dodgers. He only walked 1 hitter, by the way. He lowers his season ERA to 2.43, and since May 25th, that's 21 starts, he has a 1.3 ERA and 169 strikeouts in 120 innings. In my opinion, he's about to become the 7th pitcher ever to win a Cy Young in both leagues, but Cubs fans, they're pretty adamant that Justin Steele still has a chance. Can Blake Snell keep this up? He'll be 31 in 2024. Can he join the other guys like Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, Roy Halladay, Max Scherzer as players to win a Cy Young in both leagues and also make the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Blake Snell, he is 31 years old, so maybe he can keep it up. Maybe he can't. The Pirates had a field day with rookie Washington starting pitcher Jackson Rutledge, who I think is going to be good, but he was, the Pirates were just rude to this kid. In his first ever start, he was tagged for 4 runs in the first inning. Hayes, he started on a double, and a few other RBI singles made it that 4th spot, and it got even worse. There was an RBI double from Alfonso Rivas, and then Jackson got hit in the noggin on a throw. I don't know if he was dazed after that or what, but yeah, that's not good. Brian Reynolds, his 21st cannonball of the season, made it 7 earned runs and 10 base hits in the debut for Mr. Jackson Rutledge. He almost avoided the L, actually, because the Nationals, they stormed back to make it a 1-run game, but David Bednar, Bednar. He was shaky. He nearly blew the game. He allowed 2 base hits and 2 walks, but he eventually wrapped it up. He's got 34 saves. Kansas City literally has Babe Ruth 2.0 when they faced the White Sox. Michael Massey had another home run against Chicago in 11 games this year versus the White Sox. Michael Massey has 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. Clevenger, he settled down, only those 2 runs over 6 innings, but the Kansas City staff, they were stingy all night long. They allowed just 1 run to score. Kansas City, they ran it up to 7 runs, a super easy W. By the way, rookie Nick Lofton, he had 2 RBIs. He's hitting .345 with 6 extra base hits and 6 RBIs over his first 9 games. One more look at the standings before we do today's Immaculate Grid. The Blue Jays, like we mentioned, they're a full 1 game back of the Mariners for that final wildcard spot. The Rangers are trying to catch up to the Astros for first place in the AL West. In the National League, the Phillies and the Cubs are the top 2 teams right now, but the Reds and the Diamondbacks are tied for that final wildcard spot. Then you have the Giants and the Marlins, both at a half game back of the final wildcard spot. So the NL wildcard, we're going to lose lives. All right, we're going to try and speed run today's Immaculate Grid. We have 1 minute on the clock. Let's go. I know Nathaniel Lowe, he started his career off with the Rays. Gold Glove for the Rangers. I'm going to go Michael Young. That's an easy one. Hall of Fame for the Rangers. Why am I Nolan Ryan. Okay, that's actually a pretty easy one. We are not worried about rarity score, 68%. The Rays and the Orioles, I'm going to go Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz, he was on both teams. Gold Glove for the Orioles, Brooks Robinson. Oh, I'm moving right now. Hall of Fame for the Orioles, Frank Robinson. I'm actually typing everything out properly too. So we have a Tampa Bay Ray and a Padre. That could have been Nelson Cruz. Right now, who was the guy? You know what? I'm going to go Snell. I was going to go Luis Patino to be fancy, but I'm not going to go Luis Patino. Gold Glove for the Padres. Did Ha-Seong Kim win? I'm going to go Trent Grisham because I think Trent Grisham won. I can't remember if Ha-Seong Kim did. Hall of Famer for Tony Gwynn. That was fast. My rarity score sucked, but that was quick. So that does it for today's MLB recap. I hope that you guys enjoyed. A reminder, if you have never signed up for Underdog Fantasy, click on the link in the description down below. Use code Fuzzy. Jalen Hurts, he only has to get 1 yard. It is free money. And yeah, they're going to match your deposit up to $100. I'll catch you guys over there. Have a great day.